When I was supervisor, one of the initiatives I started for economic development was we worked with the owners of commercial property as well as the brokers, and we actually listed the properties on the town website, okay, whether it was for sale or for lease, and it had all the specs and contact information. And I think that was at one point taken off the website by the current administration, but thankfully it was put on. So one, we have to promote that. The second issue is, and I just learned this the other day, somebody told me there was a multiple listing service statistics that while the vacancies, commercial vacancies have gone up, surprisingly, the rents have gone up, which to me doesn't make sense. If I want to sell my house, I can put $1 million price tag on it. It's not going to sell, all right? But if I really wanted to sell it, I would bring it down to $750, $500, whatever the market would bear, and then I would get customers coming in to buy. So if a landlord is keeping the rents high for whatever the landlord's reason, it's their prerogative. The town board really has no control over that. We can promote it. We can help when a tenant, a prospective tenant comes in. We can help them understand the building permit process, because if they have to make typically renovations, we can help smooth the way. And I did that when I was supervisor. I worked with the Chamber of Commerce. We organized a meeting primarily for small business owners. I think there was a restaurant who was having difficulties getting their renovation permits done. It turned out the problem was their architect who wasn't submitting the right information. And of course the architect's not going to tell the client that. The architect's going to say, oh, it's the town's fault. So we brought the business people into the chamber without all the department heads, and there was a give and take so they could understand the process. So if they are interested, then it could move forward quickly.
And Tom, you've had a pro-business platform, obviously, so what would you do to fill these vacancies?
Being a business owner, yes, I do have a pro-business platform. Friendlies, unfortunately, went out due to corporate. I think all but 3 stores throughout New York State at least have closed. To entice people to come into town, you have to increase the shopping. I haven't sat on a town board. I'm not a career politician. I don't have the access to some of the things that Susan has already done. But what I do bring to the table is common sense. Common sense tells me that with bringing business in to some of these vacant buildings, such as the old Food Emporium, let's get that filled. The A&P is the problem there. They don't want to fill that because they have a new A&P down the other end of town. So if they fill that and another food store comes in, well, now it's competition. Depot Square, that's another possibility where we could bring more business in by attracting a nice looking town. People are going to want to put their businesses where it's attractive, where we're going to draw people off the trailways to come in and do their shopping, maybe sit at a little bistro and have a cup of coffee or a soda or an ice cream or something of that nature. And as far as the rents, I don't know. It does seem, to your point, a little tough that they would be raising the rents in such an economic bad time. At least if you're getting your rent at this point, let's say I'm just going to use a number of $1,000 a month, and you can sustain that at $1,000 a month, you're better to get part of the pie than the whole pie.
I agree with you.
So,
Totally.
but we can't do anything on the town board about that.
That's
That's free business. They're going to do what they're going to do, and hopefully the other businesses will be able to sustain it.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, and Tom, unfortunately, some people in town think that the town board can do miracles. All right.
Solve war and peace.
Okay.
When you're out there walking around and think you can solve war and peace, I don't mean to interrupt. You're right.
And we can't. Your example of that A&P is the perfect example.
Yeah.
For a while now, thankfully, I think they now have a sign up. They're trying to lease it, but if they don't want to lease it, and as long as they're paying the rent, the town board can't do anything. I remember talking to the owner of a shopping center that had a vacancy, and he said a tattoo place wanted to lease a space, and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. That's not the image I want for my center. So he kept the space vacant. And thank you for mentioning the trail initiative, because I think this is the key to bring shoppers into Yorktown, to make it a destination, not just obviously for our own people, but as people pass by the trailway. They want to stop to eat, whether it's a quick ice cream cone or a sit-down restaurant. They maybe have a blister on their foot and they have to go to find a drugstore for Band-Aids or something like that. So this will attract people, and it's the same thing. If you're at Turkey Mountain, there's no place to eat. Where do I go? Well, if we have some signage, some brochures to say just a mile up the road, you've got 15 different places.
Yeah.
So that is a way to make sure our local businesses stay viable. They want to expand, and then attract other businesses to fill up the vacant spaces to see this potential.
The more businesses we have, the better off our tax base will be, also taking the burden off of a lot of the people, because it'll increase our commercial tax base.
Okay, I want to shift
Oh,
gears.
can I just, all right, sorry to interrupt, but there's so many issues. That's also a misconception that the public has. When you take a vacant store, okay, and a new tenant comes in, that helps the landlord, because the landlord is now getting rent, but it doesn't increase the ratables. Take a look at lovely Savannah's Restaurants, did a lovely job in fixing up that building. Savannah's, for old timers, used to be Sunshine Pizza, okay? And that Sunshine Pizza went out of business. It was vacant for a while, and then a children's furniture store came in. They didn't make a go of it. Then it became vacant, and then now it's Savannah's. That hasn't changed our commercial ratables, okay? The person who owned the building made money on a sale or a lease. So just filling up vacant stores does not help, does not add 1 penny to the commercial tax base.
But it will add money if you have a valuable store for the sales tax that we get from the county, and so on and so forth.
Well, any business that we have, certainly if you generate it and people pay sales tax, and then it goes to the county and then we get our share.
Then we get our share. So to actually, it may not build our tax base per se, because it's like you say, the ratables are what the ratables are. Unless, and then once again, the ratables will go up because the price could go up on the building, because it is doing so well, and the housing market increases, such as if you bought a house for $300,000, I'm just using a home at this for an example, and now it's worth $500,000, and when you have a tax, when they reevaluate the taxes on the home, they will increase those taxes.
But they won't, no. If I bought my house at $39,000 a long time ago, and I don't know, let's just ballpark it, if I sold it at $400,000 now, the assessment doesn't change. It would be the exact same assessment for the new owner as what I'm paying, unless they add another bathroom, put tile, do some fancy stuff. The assessment doesn't change when you sell the property, okay? And commercial is assessed differently.
I don't know, my house went up, they assessed it I had it assessed, it was, let's say 365, town came in and said, no, it's worth 500, my
No,
taxes went up.
That's the market, that's what they estimate the market value is, but that's a hypothetical number. That doesn't affect your tax rate. What affects your tax rate is your assessment. My assessment, let's say, ballpark, my house might sell for $400,000. I'm assessed at $11,200, and my assessment went up when many years ago I built an addition on my house.
I know, my taxes went up that year, that's all I know.